Hello everybody, thank you for joining another episode of the Launchpad series on Channel 9 where we spotlight critical line of business applications from various industries. And today we actually have a great supplier of software for the construction business industry, which is very interesting to me. And so with me today is Felix Vasquez from Hyphen Solutions. Felix?
Baldwin, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming over. I know that Chris, your counterpart, will also be coming here to join us briefly and do some tech demos. So we look forward to both the conversation as well as the tech demo. After all, this is a tech show, so we look forward to seeing your solution in action.
Thank you. Well, let's get right at it.
Yeah, great. So as we see in the title, in the construction business, as I learned it as sort of a consumer and watching from the side, there's a lot of suppliers and subcontractors involved in this kind of supply chain. So we definitely look forward to hearing how your solution can unify and synchronize these different pieces within the puzzle. So for the audience, we're going to go through your company profile, a little bit about yourself. I think it's important to kind of learn more about how you come to join this construction business. And then for context of our audience, they definitely love to know what kind of problems we're trying to solve. And then ultimately, we bring Chris and demo the technology. And then I think you also have, to save the golden nugget till the end, but there will be a special offer that you're going to present to our viewers today. So we'll save that thunder for a little later, but that will be a great evaluation offer for the Hyphen Solutions software. So with that, before we talk about the company solutions and the vision, just give us a sense of what your background is and how did you come to get interested in this software company, Hyphen Solutions. I know you own the company, co-own with other folks. What was your professional journey like?
Perfect. So I started my career in computers and in software specifically at a lot of the big consulting houses, but ultimately met the CEO of a home building company on an airplane by sheer accident one time. We struck up a great conversation and I became his CIO. Was there for a number of years when I bumped into this technology, and we actually, I started as a customer and vetted it, evaluated it, and it worked fantastically for us. So much so that I decided to join the company after only using it for a few years. And that was in 2002, and I've been doing this ever since. We live it, we breathe it, and we're going to do everything we can with the technology. And the nice thing about this industry is our customers tell us what they want next. So because we've created a single platform for them to communicate with all their different vendors, as they have new needs for things that need to be communicated to the supply chain, our customers typically come to us and ask us for enhancements, and so we are allowed to extend our enterprise through that method.
Great. And since you're such a quick evolving and scalable solution platform, you keep adding innovations, and then something you learn from one customer would then subsequently benefit the rest of your scalable business, right?
It's a beautiful point because we're software as a service offered in the cloud. Anything that we add as an enhancement to the system becomes available for all of my clients. So we constantly have different builders and manufacturers adding new enhancements to the system or asking for new enhancements, and the entire ecosystem is able to gain from those new features and functions.
Excellent.
Some of those we'll be showing today.
Yeah, excellent. So I've been dying to ask the question, why do you call yourself Hyphen Solutions?
It's not the easiest name to ring off your lips, but what the hyphen does tell us is that a hyphen connects things, and that's what we're trying to do as a company. We're trying to connect all of the participants in the residential construction industry together so that if data is entered one time, it can be shared with anyone who might have a need to see that data.
And you're talking about anywhere from the painters, the subcontractors, the electricians, even down to the suppliers to provide the lumber, and also the contractors, the project managers, and everybody, within that realm of the project, right?
It's a varied process, and we do want to connect all those players. And even for a home builder, we have national home builders who will operate across thousands of sites, and sometimes they just want to know where their homes are from a construction status point. Is it in framing? Is it ready to be closed? But all of that data, the homeowners want to know that as well. And if I'm a supplier, I'd like to know what color carpet goes into a particular home. That could really help me out.
That's really important, I think. Yeah. So, so what kind of volume goes through your systems?
Last year we did over 100,000 homes, which is in excess of 20% of the entire U.S. residential construction for new homes. We have about 33,000 users on our system that log in every day fully authenticated into a shared platform. And builders and suppliers together did about $15.4 billion of business with us last year.
Wow, that's a lot of transactions, and certainly tons of homes and residents and families are actually benefited by your systems.
We hope so. We try to manage an organized and chaotic system of people that have to interact to deliver what for most people is the largest investment they'll ever make.
Now, the term that we talked about quite a bit in our preparation for this, and you love to bring chaos, into a more organized fashion, right? Exactly. So, and this is a great slide here of some of the top of mind challenges with your customers, the home builders. Like, can you highlight a couple that pop ups all the time?
Scheduling is key, and it's not just about getting people to a spot on time. It's also giving them the specific data that they need to have in order to arrive with the right material. So we do focus a little bit on just in time so that labor and materials arrive at the same time. And then people also get to understand through our system how much time they have to complete their work. So scheduling is a big key, but mobility and the mobility tools have become extremely important because superintendents or construction managers who are actually managing the construction of the home need tools where they can record what is going on in the field. But additionally, what we've done through the Microsoft platform is we've extended the tool set some so that even approvals can happen out in the field and payments can happen. We've automated the non-value adding processes that have existed for years and years in the construction cycle.
Right, so in essence, it's one thing when you put the schedule on a piece of paper or on Microsoft Project or whatever tools that you use, but it's another when you can actually realize and complete the project against that piece of paper, that project plan.
Exactly.
And what I'm hearing is timeliness is really enabled by these mobility solutions like using a phone or a Surface Pro 3 tablet. I know a lot of customers are using that on Windows 8.1 platform to actually bring that data collection and synchronization into this mobile scenario.
Exactly, and we're finding, especially where our builders are building high-rises, multi-story connected units or attached units, we're finding that mobility and cell signal internet access becomes an issue, and the new tool sets that we have coming out help us solve that, allow us to operate in a disconnected mode.
Right. So before we talk about how the happy land looks like in construction, I think the world looks kind of like a set of spaghetti on a plate, right? So how does that work today? Like, or not today, but in maybe before Hyphen Solutions come on board, what did the world look like?
Well, in the absence of a solution like ours, everyone needs to connect and communicate with everyone else, and that typically does look like a bowl of spaghetti where the noodles are just going everywhere. So I'm sending purchase orders as a builder to all of my suppliers, and as things change, I'm sending them new changes, and it's hard to manage all the paperwork that goes back and forth. And it's a lot of connections. If we all used a different type of fax machine, and I had to adopt your fax machine in order to send you something, and someone else had to adopt my fax machine, it'd be very difficult because there'd be a lot of equipment sitting around that rarely gets used. With the new protocols, we're able to have one connection into my system, and that allows you to connect to anyone else that's within the network. So you manage one connection, but you get to communicate electronically with everyone else on the network, whether you're a home builder, a supplier, a labor provider, a manufacturer, a pro dealer. You have the ability to manage one connection and then communicate electronically in a secure network with everyone that needs the information.
Right. So what you're saying is, and it happens a lot, at the end of the day, even for my household, my wife is the boss when it comes to what goes into the home, a new home or whatnot. So if the specs get changed, the color of the carpet, the type of the carpet, even last minute changes, that have cascading effects to many different players in terms of the suppliers to supply the right carpet to the people who put them all together, and of course the foreperson to have to manage that to make sure it gets done on time to close the house. All of that is triggered by that tiny little change. Could be sometimes out of your regular process, right?
True.
Does customer change their mind all the time?
True. We've all bought things, then changed our mind, and either wanted something different or something better. And buying a new home is very similar. You might decide, hey, I'd love some carpet. I have a home builder. I love that you use a carpet example. I have a home builder in Austin, Texas, who had a homeowner who came in, and their mother-in-law and father-in-law offered them some more money to help them with their home.
Right.
And so they decided they wanted some options. So they went and upgraded the flooring to get some wood flooring in the master bedroom and in the family areas. And that information, unfortunately, didn't get transferred all the way down to the supplier. So when these homeowners came in from out of town to go look at their home, you can imagine they were pretty upset to see carpet throughout their entire home.
I would imagine.
And those kinds of problems can be alleviated when you connect all of the participants in the supply chain, because as soon as that change is made in the sales office, we can reflect that through the entire supply chain instantly.
Right. So that's a benefit to kind of the consumer side, the homeowners, and also some of the people who make that into reality. But we're also seeing, as earlier we have a slide talk about the challenges of multiple supplier vendor portals that your subcontractors have to deal with. How does your solution manage all these different flavors of ERP systems?
It's a great question. We deal with multiple vendors and multiple suppliers and trade contractors, as well as multiple home builders. What we do differently than most solutions is that if I was a large manufacturer and I worked with 100 home builders, I might have to go to 100 portals to get my orders and to find out when things are happening, and if there were changes to those, I'd have to go look at those every day. With our system, what we do is we aggregate all of the builder data and give one login and one sign-in to any trade partner or manufacturer so that he can get his data for any home builder through one login. He only has to learn one thing. And from a training perspective, Hyphen takes on the burden of training that, so you don't have the support associated with having to administer a vendor portal. And so through that system, you're able to, again, manage one connection. But again, if there are any changes, if you had a spec change like carpet, or someone switched from Corian countertops to granite countertops, we instantly notify the trade partner that's going to deliver those materials, so that he doesn't have to waste his time and money delivering the wrong thing, upsetting the builder and upsetting the homeowner. Right,
and ultimately do everything in a most timely and cost-effective fashion.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So before we bring in Chris to demo the couple of apps, can you just walk us through the couple of Windows and Office apps real quick?
Sure. So we have BuildPro Mobile for Windows, which effectively takes everything that a field superintendent or construction manager would need to know about the particular home that he's building, and we present it to him in the form factor of the Surface Pro. And it's almost everything he could ever want to do, whether it's sending notifications, whether it's rescheduling jobs, whether it's providing notices to the county for permits or inspections, anything that he could ever want to do in a really easy to use form factor. The really neat thing about this particular tool set, though, is that it operates in both a connected and disconnected mode. So if you lose connectivity, you can still operate the application natively on the tablet. The other thing that I have to say with respect to the development platform is we also ported it to the Windows Phone. And the development effort was maybe 20 to 30% of the entire effort of the project. So much of the code was able to be reused and reconstituted by changing the form factor.
So the fact that the universal application platform nature of Windows 8 or 8.1 can help you shrink down the time it takes and the resource required to support previously two different apps with two different form factor. Now one code with minor changes. They can feed into phone and tablet at the same time.
Exactly, and then the side benefit of that additionally is that when we make enhancements, the enhancements apply to both form factors. So even maintaining the project going forward becomes much easier than dealing with two different development environments.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. What about the Office app for the approvals?
The Office EPO, extra purchase orders or variance purchase orders, depending on what builders call them, is a really neat app. What we found is that the person who's in charge of the money at a home builder doesn't necessarily use BuildPro every day. He might look at the reports, but he doesn't use it from a schedule management standpoint. One of the big things he has to do is to approve additional expenditures to complete a home. So sometimes you might need an extra window or a 2x4, things like that. Well, field superintendent or construction manager can make that request online in the application, and then it needs to be approved. What we found is most people have to approve extra purchase orders typically work in Excel, PowerPoint, and email. And so what we've been able to do is extend the application into Office 365 so that he doesn't have to go log into BuildPro anymore. That guy that's going to approve it can get the email, look at it, evaluate the necessary nature of that particular item, and then approve it right there from his desktop. It's an incredibly time-saving application.
That's great, and that would really help handle the issue you mentioned earlier, where a customer have changed their mind, they want to upgrade from carpet to hardwood floor of a certain kind, and those changes are typically extra EPOs type. They can quickly snap into your system and then orchestrate and synchronize, so everybody know now that they have to make some incremental changes and then move ahead with the
Absolutely. And when the approver clicks on approve for that particular item, not only does it notify your building partner, your construction manager in the field, it automatically sends that notice to the trade partner that's going to do the work. So instant notification straight from your office outlook.
Perfect, great. So I'm really itching to actually see the demo. So let's bring Chris Suggs over, and then let's take a look at this demo.
Sounds great.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming over to our Channel 9 studio. So, Felix just talked about some of the business challenges and how Hyphen Solutions bring to bear in terms of like connecting the participants in the supply chain. So, why don't you walk us through the couple of apps that you have on your Surface Pro 3?
Yeah, that's awesome. So we got 3 apps today. We'll show you the BuildPro tablet version, the phone version, and then we have an Office app that I'll quickly go into. This is typically used for the field people, so be able to use the superintendents in the field that are running those jobs, maybe those area managers that oversee a bunch of different communities. So I've logged into the app. I can see the different communities that I work in. I can select multiple communities and be able to see all the jobs under that I'm managing currently today. We're going to go into this 102 Cobbler Circle. That's the job we want to look in today. So this is a task list of everything that's happening in the house. So we're maybe about halfway through the house, but this list contains everything that we need to do to build this house effectively and efficiently, right? So it's got what we need to do, so cleaning, inspections, foundation. It's got the trade partners, those subcontractors that are actually going to do the work, when we need to notify them, when we want them to come and start to do the work, when we want them to finish do the work. So that entire task list showing everything. You can filter things at the top. You can search on here. And so if we scroll down to one of the tasks maybe down below, what we can see is interior trim and labor. We also don't just give you the task information, we actually give you that financial information and what to do. So we need you to bring a trim package. Here's what we're going to pay you. All this information is communicated in real time through email and through our SupplyPro application that the subcontractors use to actually manage all their crews from all the home builders that are on our system, right? And so what we can do is actually start this task today. Maybe we want this guy to come in the afternoon, so we need this guy to start in the afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and start that task. And so what we've done is start that task, communicated that in real time. The tasks have been updated. If the schedules need to be recalced, all that happened. And that information went straight out to the subcontractor. So if you need to reschedule something, it's very easy to reschedule. You got permits, you got rain, snow, who knows what kind of delays the information. So you can also say I'm walking into the house and I see that this has been completed. You can just click complete. So all that information is communicated now to that trade partner, that subcontractor, that this information has been done. I actually send that information to the home builder so they can pay that subcontractor. So all that approvals and everything also done right within here. If you can notice on the left, you can see a lot of different information about the job itself, right? So you got job detail information about what the plan and elevation and the swing is, the design of the house. You can look at different options that maybe the customer selected, right? In this case, maybe a stainless steel oven. You can also look at the job documents, so maybe blueprints, plot plans, maybe the customer selections. If we go in here, one of the big things that we did with a service you can't do anywhere else is be able to download the documents into their native Office applications, right? And be able to edit those documents and then upload them right back up in the system. And all the documents are also shared with those subcontractors. So pretty powerful things you can only do with the Windows device. So in this case, if we wanted to look at maybe a picture that we took here, actually use the pen and be able to say, here's the issue that we've got and we need this thing fixed, right? And be able to say that information, be able to put that back up in the job and communicate it out to all those subcontractors and you can come finish that information, right? So it's a huge communication tool for the trade partners as well as the builders in the field to be able to have all their information in real time.
So what happens if you're in, I know sometime in the basement and you don't have connection to the wireless network or Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G network.
Exactly.
Does it work offline at all?
For sure. And maybe you're out in the outskirts building houses. They may not have great connectivity, so you can actually go into offline mode. And so we choose the jobs offline. Maybe we're only going to a few of them, right? So we're going to go ahead and just select a few houses to be able to go offline. We click on download jobs. It actually downloads all that information local to our device. All the information is there. And then they can actually go back and manage that information offline, right? And so the information is downloaded to our device. We get a message saying word finished. And now what we have, instead we have all of our jobs to be able to manage, we just have the 4 that we downloaded. So we can go right back into the jobs that we were here today. We can start. We can complete task, and if you'll notice, working offline is red, so we're offline now, and so we're capturing these updates that people are making. So now we've got 3 updates that we'd like to make. We've done it offline. We go back to lunch. We go back into the office, and now we have connectivity. You just go ahead and sync and work offline. We say, are you sure you want to be able to send that information out? We say, yes, that's information. We want to be able to communicate all that information out. It actually uploads it back up into the cloud and out to all those subcontractors. So
and the fact is, not only can you do offline and then sync later and update through the cloud, is that once it's in the cloud, you can distribute back to another 4-person who might be carrying this mobile device as opposed to a tablet, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, for the phone, that universal app, we've been able to save all that information, all that's time to be able to build both apps effectively, mostly within the same code base, and just a little bit of differentiator between the phone UI and the tablet UI.
Now, this is still quite data intensive, and I know sometimes there are specific people in the supply chain where all they needed to do is to, as Felix said, approve that extra PO. So is that a simpler process?
Exactly. So what you'll notice here is I'm in Office 365 today. So we have a lot of people at different levels that only need to be able to approve things. Well, today they get an email, they look at the email, and then they log into our application, they go to the screen, they find it, and they approve it. Well, in this case with the Office app, we're able to get that email, but instead of just looking at the information and not being able to do anything, we can actually approve the EPO straight from there. So after we sign in to the app.
And this app, for the audience, this is an Office 365 app that Hyphen Solutions had added to the Office store.
Exactly, exactly. And you can download it, and now we've got extra information. So we actually gone to the cloud, pull this information back, everything about the EPO that you need to know. It's $300. Here's what it's for. It's for more concrete. We can say, looks good, and we hit approve. And now what we've done is actually approve that EPO. So instead of logging into our application and doing everything when you're not in there all day long, maybe a president or a division president, now they'll be able to approve those EPOs just straight from their email, which they spend a lot of time in all day long.
Great. Well, you've just given us several reasons why a home builder should be using your tool sets to going from approval to orchestration, scheduling, all that. So thanks for coming over.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hey Felix, some awesome demos here from Chris, so really appreciate bringing him all the way over to Texas as well. So with that, share with us the one-time offer you put together for our audience today.
Well, hopefully you found a compelling argument to use our software. We've created a new offer. You can type in the promo code MSFT90 at www.hyphensolutions.com, or you can go to the Windows App Store and download the BuildPro application. Or lastly, you can go to the Office 365 store and download the EPO Approvals app.
Great, great. Well, again, Felix, thank you so much for coming over. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. From our conversation, looks like you're looking into Windows 10. So what's your plan?
Well, we plan to be out of the gate with a new application for BuildPro on Windows 10, one of the first guys out there.
Great, great. We'll look forward to that and love to have you back on the show and show us the Windows 10 version when it's ready to go.
Oh,
all right,
new
great.
Features and functions for you.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much, Felix. And with that, here's the closure of another episode of the Launchpad series. We'll be showcasing a lot more. If you're interested, keep coming back, and we'll be showcasing more solutions on the Windows, Microsoft technology platforms such as Office and so on. So thank you very much for joining.